What's up, everybody? It's your girl, it's the boys. All sorts of things are happening on the show today.
Welcome to the show.
It'll be a good time.
If you like what you hear,
Are you ready?
you can find us on Underbelly Hours,
All sorts
on all the socials, where you get your favorite local takes on the local greats.
Here it comes, ready? Sing it with us.
Welcome to another episode of the Underbelly Hours. It is your host, Dan, and unfortunately we don't have Adela this episode. She's out busy doing all the things. Literally all the things. She got married. She put out an album that we should actually play a song before we get into this episode's interview, because we haven't done an episode since all that. So yeah, she's been up to quite a few things, so she's sitting this one out. But it's still going to be a great episode, a great interview, because we have the wonderful, lovely, amazing hometown hero, Mirabelle Skipworth. She's back in town, and she luckily had enough time to stop by and record an interview. So we talked about a lot of great things. We touched on, the differences of what we've been doing here, in the scene here, and what she's been experiencing in Pittsburgh. And, of course, talked about her new EP that is coming out this week. So be on the lookout for that. We talk all about it. And, get naturally a little off the rails. We digress. We have fun, and I hope you guys enjoy the episode. But first, we'll play the intro, and then we'll play a song off of Adela's new record, Words of Love, that you should check out. She probably is going to hate me for doing this, but we're doing it. Let's do When a Crow Cries. That one's a nice one. All right, so you're listening to another episode of the Underbelly Hour.
I am not a stranger to this face and memories of a lifetime. Hours spent on books that postulate how cowards meet their end. And did you know that whenever a crow cries, someone dies? Why was it you? All the clocks we set are rarely right. They tick on at their own pace. I try to tell myself I filled your days with loving endlessly. Though as it stands, I'll never know what else I could have tried. Round and round we go. They say there's nothing to be said, and yet it shows. I thought I heard your voice again. Stranger to this pain and metaphors where it hides, resting within long extended frames. I let it come to light. If not for pain, I'd soon forget the world you occupied. And so it's held. So it's held, round and round we go. They say there's nothing to be said, and yet it shows. They say it's better to move past, and yet I know. I wish I could see you again. Round and round we go. They say there's nothing to say it's better to move past, and yet I know you'll always be a part of, you'll always be beside me in everything. Oh, aren't we all a little lonely? Oh, aren't we all a little lonely? Aren't we all a little lonely?
Here we are with Mirabelle, Skipworth. We're back. The Underbelly Hours. Round. How are we numbering the episodes again? Did we start with one? I forgot. With Invisible Cartoons. That was our comeback episode with Invisible Cartoons. Great episode. They're great. They're just phenomenal to be in a room with
wild.
and talk to
High
and
energy.
hang out. Yeah, that was a trip. But we also talked about like how we're gonna just start fresh and number the episodes 1, 2, 3 going forward, because dating them is a pain in the bum to try and find like who was on that. Like, was it, when were they on? Was it 2022, 2021? I can't find it, and then you just keep scrolling forever and ever, and it's like never to be found. So we're just wiping the slate clean, starting fresh. So I think let's start over. Sup, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Underbelly Hours. This is, regardless, she's not here, but that's not important right now because Mirabelle Skipworth is here. Add in the crowd noise. Yes, very, very much big applause. Yeah, so let's just jump right in because when Adela is not here, I have no structure. So we're just gonna go, and it'll be fun. It'll be great. But I will try and do a callback to earlier times you've been on here and start with a little game,
Okay.
a little fun icebreaker game. And we're gonna, just because, admittedly, I've not thought of any other games. We're gonna go back to the synthesis game, where we ask 3 questions. And they're all questions that ask you to describe your music in non-musical terms. Okay. Yeah, big metaphors here. So, recently I saw Aaron Kelly's songwriter showcase at the venue, and he asked all of his peeps on stage what their favorite soup was. I don't care what your favorite soup is,
Okay.
but if your music was a soup,
Oh.
what kind of soup would it be?
All right. Let me It's hard to answer that question without thinking about soups I like. My first instinct was to say lentil, like a lentil
Healthy.
stew. I love lentil
Yeah.
soup, but also it's just warm. I guess that's what most soups are warm. Most
Are
soups
there
are
cold
warm.
soups?
There are cold soups.
There are? I'm not a soup guy, so
Not a soup expert.
partially me asking this question is to get a better knowledge of the soup world.
It's just very savory, and I don't know. I maybe that was the wrong answer, but I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
lentil
say-
soup.
Yeah, I'm
Let's
gonna
go
stick
with
with it. Lentil.
All right. Now, if your music was... You brought up how many Legos are in this room. I wanted to...
There's a lot of Legos.
If your music was a Lego brick.
A Lego brick.
Yeah, but
Okay.
that might be tricky because they're all very similar. They're kind of jagged and very edgy, which your
Okay.
music is not quite so. It's a little bit more fluid. So let's backtrack.
No Legos.
No Legos. Egos. There we go. If your music was no, because that's food. Let's get off the food. You can tell I'm very prepared. If your music was a piece of furniture.
Oh,
There it is.
okay. I would say it was a chair, a nice living room chair.
Like a master chair.
A living room chair, but like a big comfy one. I guess maybe
big
it's
comfy
like
chair.
maybe it's green.
She saved the answer with adding the color. It's a green, very, very comfy chair. Like a chair that you can like almost sink into. Like
it's like
oversized
it's deeper,
almost.
so you don't have to sit up too straight.
Right. Does it recline?
No,
It's not a recliner.
it can't be too comfortable.
Right.
But just comfortable enough.
Because you have to be able to think a bit. It's a thinking chair.
It's a thinking
right?
chair.
You can't fall asleep in it.
Yeah, you could if you were like sleepy enough.
Yeah.
But not a sleeping chair.
No, yeah, not for lounging, but for deep contemplative thought.
Yeah, and it's green.
And it's green. Most importantly, it's green. Are lentils green? I think I have a theme here.
I also really like the color green, so
Yeah.
this might
If
there
your
might
music
be some bias.
if your music was a color.
Oh no. Are you asking me this, or is this
No, that one's too easy. If your music was an element on this earth. Yeah, we went there. We were being simple, and now we're being grand. We were micro, now we're macro.
Oh no.
An element on this earth. And it could be like any element from the periodic table, or it could be a more traditional element like
Last Airbender. This is a good question. I don't know the periodic table enough to like go too specific. So I'm gonna channel my Last Airbender knowledge instead.
Let's do it.
I think I would have to say maybe water. And can I explain?
Yes,
Oh,
please.
thank you. Wow, this is cool. All right. It can be comfortable. It can be fluid. But every once in a while it's too hot or too cold, like the water. Because you can't be too comfortable. I guess that's my explanation.
I like it.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome. All right. So usually, what we do after the contender finishes the round of questions, we wrap them all up and then play a song for the listeners to get a vibe.
Cool.
So envision, before we play this first song, sitting in a nice, comfy, not too comfy, not a recliner, but a big, nice living room green chair, enjoying some delicious lentil soup while the room is flooding around you. You want to lead off with your newest single?
Yeah.
The Narrator?
Yeah. Sounds great.
Let's do it. You're listening to The Narrator by Mirabelle Skipworth on the Underbelly Hours.
house in a bathroom. Someone's crying on the floor. Bless those who sit on this cold tile. Don't care if there's an ear to the door. They said prepare for something greater, as if greater always feels good. Greater is the lukewarm bathtub, as opposed to this chilly floor. If I weren't the narrator of my own demise, would other people's turmoil still be a big surprise? Oh no, I'm a hypocrite, saying things like you'll get through this, saying things like you'll benefit from this again. The scene is in front of the bathroom mirror. The reflection, an unreliable thought. Is this what they were saying when they said, remember what you were taught? Hands were under running water, baptism by liquid fire. Is this the kind of judgment that's required to keep someone alive? If I weren't the narrator of my own demise, would other people's turmoil still be a big surprise? Oh no, I'm a hypocrite, saying things like you'll get through this, saying things like you'll benefit from this again. If I weren't the narrator of my own demise, would other people's turmoil still be a big surprise? Oh no, I'm a hypocrite, saying things like you'll get through this, saying things like you'll benefit from this again. Oh no, I'm a hypocrite, saying things like you're meant for this, saying things like it's different this time. If I weren't the narrator of my own demise, would other people's turmoil still be a big surprise? Oh no, I'm a hypocrite,
So that was a brand spanking new single.
Yeah.
Obviously I love it, but
Thank you.
what was really cool, it was, you came back around here. Well, let's back up.
Okay.
So you're not here anymore. You're not a local. You're not a Chicagoan or a suburban
Yeah.
Chicagoan anymore. You moved a while back, right?
To Pennsylvania.
To Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh. It's good. I like Pittsburgh so far. It's been going great. There's more hilly terrain.
Mm-hmm.
There are lots of bridges and lots of good people making good music. So
But most importantly, the bridges.
most importantly, the bridges.
The bridges are
They only fall down every once in a while.
nice.
So
Keep it on your toes, you know.
yeah, you gotta live life with some excitement.
Right.
So
All right.
yeah.
Well, awesome. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but
Mhm.
the reason I preface that is because you had a going away show before
Mhm.
you moved at the wonderful cafe and bar in Geneva,
Yeah.
and I was lucky enough to attend. It was
Mhm.
standing room only by the time I got there, which was awesome. And you killed it. You had Nick Scarpinato open for you, right? That show?
That was a different show.
That was a different show. That wasn't the farewell show.
That was not the farewell show. Nick Wiesner.
Nick Wiesner.
There's too
opened
many
it.
Nicks.
Scarpinato was just there, I think.
Yeah.
All
That's
the
nice. He was
Yeah.
probably there.
My bad. I get the Knicks mixed up.
They're both good Knicks. So.
They're good Knicks. Mix up the Knicks. At a Knicks game. Anyways, but yeah, so you had Nick Wiesner open, and then who else? This is embarrassing.
It's okay.
'Cause
That was a long time ago.
you're married to the guy. Yeah, you've been gone for like a year now, or a year and a half.
Yeah. Dawson
Dawson.
opened, and then Eric. Do you know him?
No.
You
Oh,
should.
yeah.
Someone you should
yeah,
know.
yeah.
He's great. So
And you did phenomenally, and it was amazing. It was a great send off, and I think you played the narrator that show.
no, I did not.
No, this is the
This is the other one.
This
the
is
other
the other
show.
one.
I played there too often. I wrote the narrator while in Pittsburgh. So
I'm mixing up my cafe and bar shows.
yeah,
You
it's
came
okay.
back and played a cafe and bar
Yeah,
show. That's
I
what I'm
did.
remembering. So I saw you at the cafe and bar show,
Mhm.
and you played the narrator,
Mhm.
and it completely latched on to me when I heard the little snippet, because I forgot it was called the narrator.
Mhm.
I instantly was like, oh, that song. Yes. Yes, I get to hear it all the time now.
Mm.
So thank you for writing amazing music and having that be the lead single, because it's a amazing song. The hook there.
Mhm.
Oh no, I'm a hypocrite.
Mm.
God, that hits so hard. It's so relatable. I mean, is that a little bit like, are you nodding to not imposter syndrome, but just kind of like the whole notion of just saying things to keep moving, get through it, when deep down you kind of also have to admit, like, it might not be what it is.
Yeah, I think I say this a lot when singing the song, is it's a lot easier to deal with other people's pain than it is our own. So like when speaking about other people's turmoil, it's easier to be like, oh, you'll get through this. It's okay. But then we don't really feel the same way about ourselves, and we're struggling through it.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that we have those comforting words inside us, we just can't speak them to ourselves.
Yeah, I think that's I was going to say that it hits artists a lot, but I think that's just everybody.
I think it is.
That is a innate human psyche problem,
Mhm.
that it's always easier to wish well on other people's problems, but then when time comes to analyze yourself, it's like, I'm the worst. This is not going to be okay. The world is burning around me, and
Yeah.
I'm not cool.
Mhm.
I'm failing. And then somebody just is like, I I stubbed my toe. It's like, dude, you're going to be the best ever. I swear
You're gonna come back.
you're going to come back from this. You're going to prevail, and you're going to get stronger.
That was actually my inspiration.
Somebody stubbed.
Someone stubbed their toe, and I was like, I'm gonna write a song for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep.
Yeah, I
That's
figured you like that.
So is you got an EP.
Yeah.
The single isn't just a one-off single.
No,
It's
it's not.
leading up to something.
Yeah, I have an EP coming out on March 17th. St. Patrick's Day. Yes.
How many songs?
It's just 4.
Just 4. Come
It's
don't-
4, but it's like 20 minutes long, so
There you go.
That's why I got to keep it 4.
No, I'm a fan of if the quality is there, long form EPs, long
Mm-hmm.
albums, totally down for it.
Cool.
So don't say like just 4, but
Just
like just
4.
whatever the songs are that make up a nice little package. Is there a theme for this one, or is it just a collection of songs you want to get out?
There is kind of a theme, and I think the theme is just like being confused, and each song kind of takes on confusion in one aspect of life, spiritually, politically, personally, emotionally, and yeah, each song has its own little bit of confusion. So
Is that like a self-reflective, that something that you've been going through in this crazy world that we've been living in, or is it more just observational kind of character writing?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it definitely has a lot of me in it, and just the world. There's so many voices talking at us, especially with social media and just how accessible information is, and hearing all those voices, but also trying to figure out what you believe and who you are and how you feel, and trying to make sure that you're okay. And yeah, it's that.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, I would agree that this is kind of like a confusing time for everybody. Everyone seems just a tad bit more confused than maybe we once were as a people.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's kind of solely the influence of social media, algorithms, all that stuff, news cycles, news trends? What is it about today's time that seems to be a little bit more confusing for everybody?
I think it's like social media is this wall that separates us from actual human interaction, and I think once we step away from it, we find that people have there's a lot of nuance in people and how they think, and we don't get that from social media. We have this this wall.
Mm-hmm.
It stops us from seeing people how they actually are, and I think that's a problem, because then there's misunderstanding, and we don't connect with people the same way.
Right, I agree with that for sure. And I'm trying to not go on my usual social media bad
Mm-hmm.
rants that I usually go on, because everyone keeps calling me an old man. And
Social media can be a helpful tool.
it can be.
It's just knowing when to separate yourself from it and know that it's not real life. It's a tool.
Do you think maybe one of the problems is people making it their life for their goals and their endeavors? Before, you didn't have to have social media to progress in anything you're doing. It could just be in-person interactions, gaining traction through more authentic avenues.
Yeah.
But now it's everyone is their own brand,
Yeah.
or everyone's their trying to become a content creator or some TikTok star or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Every mom has a cooking page or a book club page, and every dad has some kind of like hardware page, and every one is trying to be a musician or an artist. Like, it's like become everyone's identity almost.
Yeah.
What they project onto the social media.
Well, I think it's good in the sense that people now have an avenue to share their art, and it's this tool that makes sharing art a lot more accessible. You don't have to go through some big record label anymore,
Right.
And in that sense, it helps independent artists. But there is like a line between, I guess, like you said, it becoming the only reason why you do art is you want people to see it, in the way that you want to be perceived on social media, if that makes sense. And yeah, it makes it hard for like musicians who aren't too good at social media, because they don't have that brand, and that brand almost elevates certain people over others. I don't know.
I was gonna.
Confusing.
It's confusing. I was gonna bring it back to that point, because, like you said, how when you talk to everybody in person, there's way more nuance, not just about what you are talking about, but like within the person, there's way more nuance coming through, and to me, that's incredibly frustrating. As somebody like going out to shows and trying to mingle with all the other songwriters out there in the scene, is, you see what they present on the socials, and then you meet them, and it's like, oh, dude, you're so much more. Why aren't you putting that out there? It's like, I feel like there's, like, they're confused on what they should be projecting and like branding themselves as, and I feel like it's super hindering and stifling for their creativity and just for their psyche, because, like, dude, I've talked to you. You can do so much more.
Yeah.
Why don't you just let yourself do whatever the F you want? Why are you, like, I feel like there's a trend of people pigeonholing themselves into like one thing because they want to get sucked into one algorithm and then get shown to all those people and get all the views, and maybe that will be what gets me traction, when it's not, because those are all fleeting metrics.
They are.
So why don't you just be 100% authentically you?
Yeah. Well, I don't think you can through a screen. It's like, that's why
True.
You have to, keep up with your personal connections.
Or can you?
I think you can to an extent, but you're never going to be able to see someone fully,
right?
Through social media. Like, there's always going to be like some kind of barrier. And I think what the difference between going out and networking in person and then networking on the internet is, you see that the actual work that goes into networking.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of people will ask me how I'm like doing the things I'm doing, like musically, or like playing the shows I'm playing, because they only see the end product. They only see, here I am. I can't speak. Here I am, playing these shows. But in the background, I'm doing a bunch of work, and I'm really working hard at getting those things. And social media makes it seem like it's just happening, and then that discourages people, because they're like, why aren't these things happening to me?
Right.
And like, I mean, I felt that way before too, and then I have to remind myself, oh, that person's working hard in the background. And when you actually go to shows and talk to people, you realize, oh, okay, there's work that can be done.
There's always something more you can do.
There's something more you can do. So Yeah, it's just how you have to kind of shift your perspective on someone's social media image. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's not always a bad thing that they're not showing everything, because you shouldn't show everything on social media. There's too many people, and you can't. I don't know. I don't want everyone to know everything about me, like
Right.
on the internet. But you have to understand that that is not the whole person. If I want to meet the whole person, I gotta go see him at a show, or I gotta go get tea with them. I don't know.
That brings up a question that I've been having. Shoot, I was gonna lead to somewhere else, and you brought that up. Do you think? Because what helped a lot of artists back in the day was the mystery behind them, the ethos.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't know anything about these guys. You didn't know who Led Zeppelin were as people. They just looked like rock gods up there,
Yeah.
and everyone was enamored. It's like, oh my gosh, how did they do this? Like, how's he hitting that high note? How is he shredding that hard? Who are they?
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost better to not know. That's one argument.
Yeah.
It's almost better to just let them be the vessels that play the music.
Mm-hmm.
And they have their image, and that's part of the show. That's part of the music almost. And you just enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't need to worry about who Robert Plant is as a person. Good and bad and all that comes with.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of has how artists have operated for generations, right? Like, I mean, you would catch interviews maybe on night TV, and you get a little taste, but still at the end of the day, you're like, this guy could be a complete D-bag. But the music's great. I don't care. You know? Like, I feel like there was that better separation between artist and the person making it, at least for the general listenership.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have the diehard fans.
Mm-hmm.
So then, fast forward to now, and it almost seems like people don't want any kind of mystery at all. They want to know who you are, at least who you are presenting as, so that they can feel safe that you're on their side or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's why people are so afraid of being themselves, is because they want to please everybody, and they're afraid of offending one side or the other. And I don't know, have you noticed anything like that in your adventure of promoting on social media and putting yourself out there on socials, that kind of...
I try to know the least amount about people as possible, because I don't want that to happen.
Yeah.
I've never been like I listen to a lot of music, but I've never been I've never been a good fan of anyone.
Okay.
I don't really know much about people's lives. I think sometimes it is interesting to know a little bit about people's lives, because it and then listening to their music and seeing how that's affected their music. So in that way, it's interesting, but also I don't want people to know anything about my life. So I feel like it's weird if not weird, because that information's public, but I don't want to invest too much in other people's lives. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a good fan.
Right.
I've never been a good fan of anyone.
Yeah, I think it's just something that I've perceived maybe as a new trend, just through comments and looking at interactions and posts. And a couple years ago, I unfortunately got into Reddit, and that was...
Oh, wow.
That was not good. I was like, I'm hearing a lot of just mean opinions about everything.
Yeah.
It's so much more mean. I thought Facebook and Instagram got a little mean sometimes if, something didn't jive with people.
Mhm.
But man, Reddit.
I've never really been a Reddit person. Maybe this is why.
Yeah, I mean it's fun if it's a niche enough
Okay.
thing. I think it's pretty cool. There's
Yeah.
there's communities there, but like
Mhm.
broad scope
Mhm.
things, like just music subreddit or albums subreddit or this band's subreddit.
Mhm.
Oh gosh, you get particular with certain bands subreddit, it gets really divided real quick. And
Interesting.
yeah, a lot of the things that I noticed was attacking the people, the artists,
Yeah.
and then using that to then
Yeah.
beat down on the music. And I was like, is this in a lot of people's heads now? Is this how people
Well, I think
think?
it's interesting because in person we give people a lot more grace than we do people who are in like the limelight, and we have a lot more forgiveness for people that like. It's almost like people who are in like the spotlight. They're not real people.
Yeah.
And so when they do something that's a thing that real people do, which
Like
is make
mess up.
mistake,
Yeah.
we can't. It's hard to wrap our minds around them because we put them on this pedestal, and not to say that whatever thing they did is a good thing, but I think we forget to look inside of ourselves and say, "Oh, I've done a lot of bad things too."
Right.
And it's not forgiving the things that they did, but also it's more so like forgetting that like we're all people trying to figure out what in
Yeah.
the world we're doing and trying to do good and often doing bad. It's hard when there's this like persona that's lifted up and it's
Mhm.
like godlike, and then they prove themselves not to be that, and it messes everything up in our brains.
True. It gets confusing.
It's so
It's
confusing.
With that, do you want to play another tune
Yeah.
that touches on maybe some of this confusion?
Yes. One of the songs off of my EP is called "The Leader," and it's kind of about hearing a lot of people talking with authority and trying to sort all of that out, while also trying to sort out what I think.
Right.
Mhm.
I love it. Can't wait to hear it because I haven't heard it yet. This is
Yeah.
new. This
Yay!
is. I think we're going to be releasing this the week of.
Mhm.
So let's plan on that. Yeah, you're hearing the sneak peeks.
Mhm.
This is exclusive. You're hearing the songs first here, everybody. This is "The Leader" by Mirabelle Skipworth. Please enjoy. I know I'm probably going to. You're listening to the Underbelly Hours.
Bury the leader into the ground. We'll all be okay if they just stay down. Is there justice left in our brains? Or is our ignorance all just the same? Just the same. The fast-tracked benevolence has been twisted and squeezed. Well, if we were better, well, we'd cry over all these things. But our patience has been cast into a grave. We're left with contention and attraction to shame, and attraction to shame. A man named Cain walked these streets alone. If he had been thinking, he would have hit Abel's bone.
was never there. Place a bandage over your mouth and hope your silence keeps those leaders buried down, buried down, buried down.
That was really fun. Your songwriting has just kept getting better. I don't know how you do it, because your first album is still like great to me. I still love. I mean, Corner
Oh,
Store is still one of my
Oh.
favorite songs. I know. It hurts to hear that your back catalog is still awesome.
Well, thank you. That's funny. Corner Store is like, it's just now not the top song anymore because the narrator's.
Yeah, it's
But I'm like, that's the first song I was gonna listen to when I was. I don't know. You always
Still a
always
great song.
hope. I don't mind the song. It's
Yeah.
just like I've gotten better as a performer, and I want that stuff to be
for sure.
forefront. But I feel like everyone feels that way. So.
Everyone feels that
Yeah.
way. But no, just I mean, your like progression, because I feel like, yeah, the first album was more traditional, kind of folky, and then you started to get way more kind of airy and wispy, ethereal, especially with the one with the table.
Oh yeah, Table's Trill.
The Table's Trill.
Yeah,
Also one of my favorites.
thank you.
And like the Catalyst, that like you started to explore this sound that I felt like was becoming more you. Of this, it's still rooted in the folk structure and
Yeah.
folk melodic sensibilities, but you added this more airiness about it, this like mysticism feel.
The alt to the alt folk.
Yes. And I'm not hip to what's happening in the folk world, but I don't know if that's. I guess what new artists have been inspiring you that you've kind of been like, ooh, that's a cool thing. Well, let me try that.
I don't know if I do it that directly. I'm sure I think subconsciously I'm influenced. New artists. I'm really bad at listening to new artists.
Same.
It's like artists that I have been listening to newly, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe, or not even newly. I just really I like. I've been listening to a lot of Damien Rice. I really like the emotional dynamic and musical dynamic he puts in his song. So it's still calm at some points, but it hits this peak where it's.
Yeah.
I really like that. That the noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that means, but it gets intense, and I really like that. Who else? I've been listening to a lot of like Manchester Orchestra. I don't know if you've listened to much.
Not much, but enough to know their
band.
existence. Yeah,
they again have that dynamic. They started out as a little bit heavier, and then kind of settled into I'm terrible at genres, but they're like alt rock, I guess. But they have like acoustic elements, and they incorporate those in with these like more heavy hitter rock songs. And I just love the dynamic of that. And they use it so well and tastefully. And lyrically, they're, amazing as well. It has that dynamic as well. Like I think that maybe that's the theme of everything I like. The dynamics, whether it's in the lyrics or the music or the emotional.
Right. There's a journey that happens through the course of the song,
Yeah.
which, that's how songs, that was their purpose. They told a story.
Exactly.
Especially like traditional folk songs.
Yeah,
they
that's the
all
point.
told a story. And so usually with good stories, there is a natural rise in tension,
Exactly.
and then a climax, and then
Yeah. So.
what's the French word? The denouement or something? the fall, the resolution. Kinda.
Yeah. So to answer your question, it's like all over the map. Like it's hard to pick out like one name that's like been influencing me, but like artists that have that
Mm-hmm.
dynamic. And maybe I'm not doing the same things musically as them, but I want to capture like the feelings
Right.
that they capture.
Do you think that's harder to find right now in today's latest releases? Like some people would say that there's been like a loss of dynamic range.
I think if you're just looking in certain places, if you're just looking at the charts and you know what's on top 40, but I think there just keeps the amount of music available keeps growing. So in that sense, the stuff is out there. You just got to be willing to look for it. And
people don't want to look.
People don't want to look.
People
That's
don't want to look. Come on, that's hard. That's work. It takes time.
It is, but like it's all out there. There's like arguably more music available. There is like music's just more and more available. And I find that within my like musical community, it's like I'm blown away, like genuinely blown away, because by the songs I'm hearing just from my friends, and I don't get blown away like easily, because I've heard a lot of music.
Yeah,
it's good, But
it happens when your musical knowledge becomes so broad as far as bands and artists. Things don't surprise you as much, because music is all kind of based on music people have heard before. It's just filtered through them, and sometimes people have not that great of a filter, and it just comes out the same. So, but that's exciting to hear that you're discovering and hearing just peers and colleagues blow you away.
It's awesome.
That's what you want,
it inspires
right?
you. Like I feel like maybe your question before, it's like right now I feel like I'm more inspired by like my musical community than anything, just because people are out there creating good art, and you can discuss, your description, anybody's description of good art's gonna be different,
right?
But to me, like when I hear that coming from people that I get to like eat dinner with, it's something really special, and it makes me even more excited to write more songs so I can share it with them, and we can inspire each other, so
it sounds like a healthy scene. Sounds like you got something over there.
It's I think what you pour in, you'll get out of any scene, and I do think there's a lot of really cool things happening in Pittsburgh. Even since I've been there, I've noticed things growing, and it's a growing scene, and there are a lot of people that really care about good original music. So
how was it first kind of getting your feet in there?
It was surprisingly easy in the sense that I've done it before in one place, and when I started researching music in Pittsburgh before I moved there. And so I was ready, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get immediately plugged in. And I just kind of met the right people at the right place. There's this like awesome open mic called Acoustic Cafe. And it's like this breeding ground for good musicians. It's not like it almost doesn't feel like an open mic sometimes, because you're just like hearing great song after great song, and it's mostly original music. And you meet people there that are actively playing shows or touring or want to tour or want to play shows. And those are the people you want to be in a community with. So, like, going there really helped jumpstart things, and the community there has been very welcoming. So, thankful for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Makes me want to move there.
You can move there.
Yeah. I mean, honestly. We can get right into it. you came by around like Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
and we checked out an open mic, and I won't say where. And we kind of had this like discussion about the difference in the scenes,
Mhm.
and me and Adela have been pretty transparent with our our frustrations about kind of like the lack of unity or cohesiveness in this scene,
Yeah.
which is weird, right? Because
Yeah.
everyone knows everybody.
Mhm.
I know everyone who's playing out at all the breweries,
Mhm.
and everyone's playing at all those breweries. So why does it seem so like flatlined
Yeah.
here? Like why isn't it just seems everyone's apathetic or lethargic or
Mhm.
just not interested? And we were talking about how like, yeah, Pittsburgh, that's not the case. And I was like,
Well-
how? What have you
Well, I
noticed? That's
think yeah. Well, in this area, you have some logistical hurdles, and one of
Yes.
those is it's all so spread out.
right.
One of the things about Pittsburgh is it's all condensed.
Mm-hmm.
You have the Chicago scene, which is like kind of a whole other thing. They're
Right.
connected, but not entirely.
Yeah, people look down
Yeah.
on the burbs there for sure.
Yeah, and so I think what's lacking here is like something that centralizes everyone, and that's really hard when everyone's a gigging musician.
Yeah.
And everyone's playing every weekend because people just don't have time to regularly check in with each other. And there's nothing wrong with being a gigging musician. I think it's awesome that people can make money and do what they love. But it is an obstacle to centralizing a scene,
Right.
especially around original music. And I think that's in Pittsburgh, the musicians that I'm around, like they're not really gigging musicians. And that helps. We can go to each other's shows. We can have regular jam nights and swap songs and share songs with each other. Yeah, it's easier to do those things. So you can't. You either have to like find musicians that are willing to put in a little bit more time, or like find musicians that are willing to step back from some of the things that they're doing to like invest in an original music scene. But it's like two different places. It's hard to.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. With that aside, being in like just geographically very different. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head where it's everyone's just busy doing their own thing, and yeah, the notion of everyone's gigging and everyone's busy. I feel like even for the base audience here that would be interested, also kind of gets what am I looking for? I mean, let's say it's oversaturated here. The fact that there's like 5 breweries in every suburban city here, and probably 3 of those will have music twice a weekend, if not 3 times. And how many suburban cities are there just on the northwestern suburbs? Like, there's just everything everywhere. For the general listenership, that almost devalues the like discovering anybody, because you know that there's going to be something wherever you go. And I feel like it's hard for them to create any like not attachment, but just interest or hype for any of us performing around here, because we're just another one tomorrow night, or there's just another person playing next weekend, and there's always somebody there, and everything just becomes blah.
Yeah, and the atmosphere of the place also like makes a big difference.
Yeah.
Like if a quiet folk singer-songwriter is playing in a busy brewery, nobody's gonna pay attention. Maybe a couple people every once in a while, and that's like, that's like the best day ever for that person.
Mm-hmm.
But what they really need to be playing is like intimate house shows or like
Right.
DIY spaces or places that like will showcase that music. And that's where you build your audiences. When you get on a bill with a couple other songwriters that are all really good and their audience comes and then your audience comes and then you kind of swap audiences. But like having that good atmosphere, having those shows, first of all, makes it better for the audience to listen, makes it easier for the artist to share their music, and it's like a extra motivation for a musician, because if you're only playing like loud busy bars, like you're gonna get burnt out.
Majority covers.
Yeah, you're gonna start hating.
Yeah.
Some people don't. I think that's awesome. If you're just able to play those gigs all the time without any like I call them good gigs, good original gigs, then like props to you for keeping your head high. But when I was playing a lot of like background music gigs, like I think it was COVID that stopped me, and I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
I just want to play my own music.
Yeah, I did 1 year of it last year.
Mm-hmm.
Like hard, nose to the grindstone. Let's get at least 2 gigs a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. It was exciting. It made me a better performer. It really jump-started my musical growth to a level that I hadn't, like I had plateaued, and this kind of really, it got my voice to a better place. It got my guitar technique, being able to just learn songs faster, and then learning that huge swath of songs, different styles, different decades, made me a better songwriter too. I think I write better songs just because I had more inspiration to pull from.
Yeah.
Great. That was fun.
That's
made some good cash.
Yes.
Some good quiche.
So much money there.
Right. A lot of good I have my budget for the next EP when that happens. But at the end of the year, around like November, I was like, that didn't do anything. That didn't do jack shit. Like everyone cares just the same as they did before. Like and I met people at every one of those gigs. It was like, dude, that was awesome. That was great. But did it actually move the needle? Did I get any kind of fan base? No. It didn't do anything.
Well, I think you hit on the two positives. It's like personal, like musical growth. Like that really helped. It built up my endurance. I can tour with ease without getting tired. Now, probably because I played so many marathon gigs.
Right.
And then money. Like I was making music. I was making money off of music for like a while.
Which
and
is exciting.
That was how I need to make money. So I think that's great for those two things. What it's not good for is like career growth,
right?
And gaining a reputation,
right? Unless that's what you want to be. Like it works for people who want to do that kind of cover.
I don't think there's anything wrong
gig
with that.
Thing.
Yeah, but if you want something different, you have to start playing those better shows. And by better, I don't mean like bigger, but I mean like quality, like listening spaces.
Right. You're playing to the right people.
Yeah,
it
can be like it can be it can be a crowd of 10 people. But if all those 10 people are completely silent during your set, and you get 5 of those people to follow you on your social media, and 3 of those come to your next show, that's 3 people out of 10. And you just keep playing those shows, then eventually your audience is going to grow. It's still going to be slow, but it's going to be faster.
Well, and that's a better way, like those more intimate shows where everyone is plugged in and listening. I think there's a better chance of them spreading the word of mouth than the people who are just kind of half in, half out at a brewery or a bar where it's like, oh, that guy was really good, but they don't go to tell anybody, even if they really enjoyed it. It's just one of those things where it's like, oh, I saw you last month. That was great, man. Oh, dude, sweet.
Yeah.
It's like, thanks.
Yeah, they'll come see you play it the next time you're at that
Yeah.
brewery.
But
Yeah.
they don't. Yeah, it just seems like there's that kind of apathy or just lack of interest.
Mm-hmm.
And let's put together some house shows. Let's put together some worthwhile gigs. Aaron Kelly's doing a great job at the venue.
Yeah.
That's
I think the key. Well, I love that they're doing that because
Yeah.
they have a
They have a space for it.
consistently. Another really important thing, and this is kind of hard. I hope this is not taken too negatively, but you have
Yeah.
for if you want a scene to be successful and you want the house shows and those like intimate songwriter spaces to become spaces that an audience wants to come to, the people that the curation has to be really good every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to put artists who are ready for those spaces. In those spaces, it's a disservice to somebody who's just like getting started out, to put them in a space where they won't be successful. They should be going to open mics. They should be jamming with their friends and,
Right.
getting support that way. But if you want an audience, you have to give the audience something that they'll come back for.
Yeah, you need that consistency of quality.
Consistency of quality, yes.
Even if it's maybe someone or a band that doesn't quite fit their taste,
Yeah.
as long as it's still really good,
to be really
they're not going to
good.
be mad. It's just like,
No.
they're not for me, but I mean, the guy can tread. I
Yeah.
can't deny that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's vital, like,
Yeah.
to a scene, because if you don't do that, you're not going to gain. For those spaces, you're not going to gain any audience. You're just going to get your friends coming. And eventually, your friends are going to get tired of coming to those shows.
Right. When it takes one bad or poor lineup to turn people away forever.
Even inexperienced,
Yeah.
a lot. And what's exciting about a scene that curates well is the people that are inexperienced will see that and they'll aspire to be in that space, and then they'll get better and they'll eventually be able to play those spaces. So you're not leaving people behind.
If they have a healthy mindset.
Yes. if you're not intentionally leaving people behind, you're like giving them something to look forward to, and you're giving them motivation to get better.
Right.
And I think that's important because you want new people coming up and getting better and better, because then it benefits everyone.
I agree.
Because the audience builds.
Wholeheartedly.
So, mm-hmm.
One problem I see that momentum run into is I've seen mentalities where, somebody will, that perception gets properly conveyed.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of that songwriter in the audience or whatever, taking it as, oh, well, I can get there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me work at it. They can just get offended and find validation through a social media post. And
Mm-hmm.
because what I found is usually the people better at social media aren't always the best musically or songwriting, because they've spent all the time building up the social media, and then they find all their validation through the engagement and likes that they get through those posts, that when it comes time to put your music to the meritocracy and they don't get what they want, they just be like, oh, well, you guys are crazy. Or whatever. I'm amazing. Here's what everyone says. I get these many views and get these many likes.
Yeah. Well, I think you can't control other people. So it's good to not try. But you can control the spaces that you create and making sure that they're healthy and they're putting out good quality music. And then everything will balance out, because eventually the audience will be attracted to that.
Right.
Like, I don't think social media always... Being good at social media and good social media engagement doesn't always mean that people will come to your shows. Sometimes it
Sometimes.
does. Sometimes it does, but it doesn't always mean that. So when I think this songwriter space world that, the ideal,
Right.
that'll become more attractive than the social media engagement. And if it doesn't, then that's it's out of your control.
Yeah.
Like you can't. And yeah, again, like it's like you have like I have a little grace for people who like want to find some type of not encouragement. I'm trying to find the right word, but I'll say encouragement from other places, because they want some type of motivation to keep playing music. They want to know that what they're doing is worth their time, and it's scary when like you face rejection, because then you're like, what do I? Is this even worth doing anymore? And I think that's why it's important that even though it's important to curate those spaces well, you're still supporting people that are coming up and growing, and the way, still approaching them with a warm attitude, and, supporting the fact that they're growing.
Right.
And again, that the attitude of that person is entirely up to them. But being very solid, like a solid person, just a kind human being to people consistently, it makes a big difference in a scene, because then the people know that it's not that you genuinely care about their music
Mm-hmm.
and it getting better, instead of just being like, nah, you're never gonna get there. You might as well just quit. Like, that's no good either.
No.
So it's a balance.
I like what you're putting out there. Yeah, I think a lot of scenes could benefit from that kind of. Yeah, it's hard. There's just everyone's playing. I think that's
Everyone's playing.
I think that's the first problem. Is
Yeah.
that people need to come out to more shows and just support each other a bit more,
Mm-hmm.
which is happening a bit more. I've noticed
That's
a little bit
great.
more.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes the money's too good for people.
Yeah, and there's people out there that aren't playing any shows at all, and they're just writing in their bedroom.
Yeah.
You always have to tap into that market too.
Yeah.
Market. But yeah, there's people. If there's people in their bedroom making really good music, and they're like, but there's no space for me to play. I'm not really interested in the gigging. Like, that's why it's important those spaces exist, so that those people come out of their bedroom and are like, and share their beautiful song that they've been hiding away for many years.
Yeah, that quick little tangent on that. I do know somebody who, amazing songwriter, amazing voice, comes out to open mics, and was getting kind of frustrated. It's like, oh, I can't book any of these gigs. I don't feel like I almost don't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely don't fit that aesthetic, that vibe. And I'm like, then don't
Mm-hmm.
try to do that. Like, that's not, you don't have to. But they felt like it was just that's how you do it here.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, because everyone's playing those gigs. You
Yeah.
have to get into those gigs.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no,
Yeah.
you got something here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find you other better gigs
Spaces.
for
Yeah.
what you're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, yeah, that's hard for some people to. There's like almost this when all your peers are playing those gigs, you feel like that's what you have to do.
Yeah. If that's what the scene is centered around.
Yeah.
Especially original music, like the original people who are actively making good original music, that's what they're doing. It's like, that's what they're going to aspire to. It's like, that's the standard.
Yeah.
You just have to move the standard somewhere else.
I'm out of it. I'm checked out of it. I don't want to do that again this summer.
Then don't.
I want to follow your path. Do the
All the way to Pittsburgh.
Well,
Just kidding.
hey, if that's where it leads me. I mean, it seems like you got something great over there. But no, yeah, just like more showcases, more house shows, more
Mm-hmm.
meaningful shows centered
Yeah.
around the actual original music
Mm-hmm.
and the songwriter, that
Yeah.
they don't feel compelled that they have to sound like this artist or
Yeah.
be that, like, yeah. Confusing times.
It's all confusing.
It's all confusing. Let's do one last song and then wrap it up after that.
Yeah.
What other song? You got two left off the EP,
Yeah,
right?
this next one is called Good Morning. It's kind of just about waking up and being like, whoa.
So every morning.
Yeah.
You described every morning for me for the past 5 years.
Yes, I don't think there's any more description needed.
Yeah, that's it. And now, with that, you're listening to Good Morning by Mirabelle Skipworth on the Underbelly Hours. Enjoy.
Was I dreaming? The colors were so bright. Goodbye, sweet night. Good morning, insanity. Good morning, no suffering. I'll mourn the numb of sleep. Pardon the heresy. I do not know your name. Hosanna, who are you? Hosanna, what are you? I will not dig your grave. I'll watch from my window, waiting for something above. The quiet disturbs the hum that tugs and tugs and tugs at what I hoped was love. It's a kiss on the cheek. It's love. It's the nail digging into my side as I scream in hopes that I'll find Hosanna. Where are you? I'm an animal. What are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're listening to the Underbelly Hours here. I hope your drive is going well this morning. And the traffic this hour is going to be a little tight on the I don't know where I'm going with that. I can't fake a news radio voice.
It's good while it lasted.
Yeah. I hated AM radio. That is something that can go away.
Poor AM radio.
Poor AM radio. Well, podcasting is so much more fun.
Yeah.
Than some random guy just talking about the weather and traffic and the...
But some people need that. They need to know where there's going to be traffic and if there's going to be rain.
Isn't it all on your phone now?
Not for... sometimes it's hard.
You're like, it's 50 degrees out right now. Boom.
But they want to hear Bobby and Sue say it on
True,
AM
Bobby
radio.
and Sue they're a good couple.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, good morning. Just that wake up, whoa. So relatable. I think if that would be the slogan of the past 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Just wake up, like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah.
All right, guess we got to do this.
I think that's like the whole EP. Like it's starting off the EP. That
Yeah.
song. It's and it's. I think I wanted it to like to kind of to visualize the EP. It's like you're waking up and you're like, wow, my dreams were so bright and vivid, even if they're super scary or something. And then slowly all these things, life things unpack and like everything gets more intense. And you're like, wow. Or whoa, if we want it to be more technical.
Well, wow's good too. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So.
Just a lot of, those anxious revelations as the day sets in.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like, deep breath and go.
Go. Yeah. Like every day you're like, there's so many things to think about. But I also have to have some dinner.
Yeah. You got to eat at some point.
Yeah, you do.
Maybe go to work. Maybe be on time.
Yeah.
This time.
Yeah, and then you also like there's too many things in a day to like also like try to figure out the world's mysteries.
Yeah. Being human is weird. Being conscious is weird, right? Like this is crazy.
Well, I don't know anything else. Like I don't know anything different, so I guess it's normal.
I guess it's normal, but it's also a little intense.
Yeah,
right? If we were to possibly remove ourselves from the process for just a moment and just look at everything that
what does it feel like to be completely at peace?
At peace. I think that's called ego death.
Oh, what does it feel like to be completely at peace with no drugs?
You can achieve it. Wow, how incredibly assuming of you. You can achieve ego death without drugs.
I don't know. I feel like it's impossible.
I think there's forms of deep meditation that might get you there.
Yeah, you just have to stop thinking.
Yeah, it's like complete separation.
That's what seems impossible to me personally. It's like, how do you stop thinking?
Well, I think the only ones who can achieve it are the ones who, hold themselves up away in a monastery for
I thought you were going to say those who
years.
take drugs.
I don't know what they do in those monasteries. I'm sure lots of drugs.
I'm sure there's something.
There's something. No, but like they practice this meditative practice like for years and years, and then maybe when they're 60, they get a taste of that.
Yeah.
But what is it?
60. Wow, that's a
Absolution
long
or
time to
something.
wait. Maybe not that long.
Some people are determined. Some people are dedicated. Some people don't give up, which is nobody should give up. Nobody should.
If you get anything out of this podcast,
Wake up and don't give up.
wake up. Never give up.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so funny. It's good.
Cue Rick Astley.
Yeah.
That needs to be on a soundboard.
Yeah.
Sorry, we got a little existential there for a bit. Again, something that tends to happen when Adela doesn't keep me in check.
Oh, what would bring it back?
I don't know.
The
This is
weather,
really just-
maybe AM radio.
Yeah.
Do we circle back there?
Maybe. I don't know. What do you got in the pipeworks, Mirabelle? What's I mean, you got the EP.
Got the EP.
That's coming out
Yes.
this week,
17th.
the 17th.
Yeah, Friday.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I'm
We
excited.
heard 3 songs off of it.
Mm-hmm.
All spectacular. All, I think, some of your best work,
Thank you.
especially the narrator. I love that song. But also very, very pleased and happy, even though it was just on phone speakers, I must admit.
It only gets better.
Hearing the leader. And good morning. I didn't even need to hear that. I just needed to hear the description, and we got there. So that's going to be available everywhere, I presume?
It is, yes. Everywhere,
On the,
including Bandcamp.
which is where you should go, you know, purchase it.
Yeah.
Support Mirabelle financially by purchasing the music that she worked very hard to create and produce for you all. Yeah, I mean, but if you can't afford it, just the streaming,
Yeah, I do
checking it
appreciate
out,
the listen. Yeah.
just
So many
listening
people
to it.
like it is wild.
Any fun artwork for it?
Yeah, I mean, I
Yeah.
always make my own album art. I'm very
Yeah?
protective over it because I want it to be a certain way. So
We talked a lot about confusion being the central theme. I'm just imagining like just a big question mark.
something like that. Nothing like that.
No.
But I guess right now it's a question mark in your brain until
There
you
we go.
see it. Yeah.
The grand unveiling. Are you going to be like, well, it's hard because we're recording this very much earlier than we're releasing it. So there will already have been promotional teases and posts more than just the narrator. So be sure to go check out Mirabelle Skipworth on all of her socials so that you can see all the work and lead up to this incredible EP that's about to drop. And then, make your way to Pittsburgh and see her live.
Yeah.
Well, also stay tuned because, you never know when she's going to be playing around here.
I'll be back in June.
She'll be back in June. Mark your calendars. Are you?
Yeah.
I mean, usually you plan a show.
Mhm.
Should we expect maybe you putting together a show in June?
There is a show.
There's already a show
booked,
booked
but I'm
in
not
June.
sure if I'm allowed to announce it.
That's fine.
It's not my.
The
I'm
promise
coming back for a really awesome show.
of a show,
yes.
is there.
Yeah. So
and
you should
people
look
will
out
just
for
have
it.
to
Yeah.
follow you to
Mhm.
make sure they don't miss any of the details.
Yeah.
Or follow us on the Underbelly Hours because we will also try and boost and promote and push all of these amazing shows that are happening around. Anything else that you'd like to shout out before we part ways?
I just really appreciate you talking. You guys are doing great things.
Thanks. It was fun.
Yay.
Hopefully Adela doesn't cringe too hard at my ramblings.
You know what? I have nothing to say.
Any last note you want to give to the people? Any last little words of
I was
encouragement?
going to say don't give up, but you
Yeah.
already said it. No.
Anything that you've
Give
learned
people a
through-
chance.
Yeah.
Give people give musicians a chance. Good musicians. If you think their music is really good, support them. And whatever that means, monetarily or go to a show, say good job to them. Like, people are all, trying out here. And it's nice when, an audience gives growing artists a chance. So, yeah.
Very, very well put.
Mhm.
And I'll try to do that.
You're already doing it.
Thank you, Mirabelle, for coming out all this way. I know you came out here just for this.
Just for this conversation.
just for just for your appearance on the show.
Yeah.
And it means a lot. It's very much appreciated. No, I know you're here for a show and just to enjoy the beautiful weather.
Beautiful Illinois weather.
Beautiful Illinois March weather where you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you really
60
don't.
degrees? Sure, why not?
Mm-hmm.
Torrential downpour? Sure.
It's part of the excitement.
Snowstorm?
Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
Let's do it. But hope you have safe travels back.
Thank you.
Let's keep in touch. We'll keep promoting your stuff even though you're not truly local anymore, but you will always be in here.
Yes.
In the heart of the scene, because you did so much before you left too. So we have a lot to give credit to you as well. But without dragging on and boosting you too much, because we got to work on that ego death as well. This has been another episode of the Underbelly Hours. You're Mirabelle.
You're Dan.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Bye.
Woo! Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your girl, it's the boys. All sorts of things are happening on the show today.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, it'll be a good time.
If you like what you hear,
Are you ready?
you can find us on Underbelly Hours,
All sorts of
on all the socials, where you get your favorite local takes on the local greats.
Here it comes, ready? Sing it with us.